The Christmas lights blinked red and green across our Lekki Phase 1 sitting room as my husband Chukwemeka's fist connected with my jaw for the third time that night. I tasted blood before I felt the sharp crack of my front tooth breaking loose, tumbling down my throat as I collapsed against our leather sofa, the one we'd bought together just 6 months ago when he promised things would change. What would you do if the man who vowed to protect you became your greatest threat? Hit like if you've ever felt trapped in your own home, and comment below where you're watching from. My name is Adanna Okafor, and until that Christmas Eve in Lagos, I believed I could love my husband back to the man I married. I was wrong. Dead wrong. You think you can embarrass me? Chukwemeka screamed, his expensive Tom Ford cologne mixing with the sharp smell of whiskey on his breath. Questioning me in front of my family? You think because you have that small boutique in Victoria Island, you're suddenly the man in this house. I tried to speak, but blood pooled in my mouth where my teeth used to be. Our 9-year-old daughter Chioma's bedroom door stayed firmly shut upstairs. She'd learned long ago that Daddy's anger was a storm you didn't walk into. This wasn't the first beating, but something told me it needed to be the last. The domestic betrayal had started small. Late nights at the office. Lipstick on collars he claimed came from greeting clients. Unexplained charges on our joint account that he dismissed with irritation. For 3 years, I'd played the good Nigerian wife, cooking his favorite ofensola, pressing his agbada for weddings, smiling through church services while hiding bruises under foundation. I saw the messages, Emeka, I whispered through broken teeth, my voice sounding strange and hollow. On your phone. With Blessing. His eyes went cold. Blessing Adelik, my former best friend, the woman who'd stood as my maid of honor, who held Chioma minutes after she was born. The emotional manipulation had been perfect. For months, Emeka convinced me I was crazy, paranoid, letting motherhood make me suspicious. But I'd seen the texts earlier that evening while he showered. Explicit photos. Plans to spend New Year's together in Dubai. Discussions about leaving me. The cheating spouse stood before me now, and his mask had finally slipped. He grabbed my hair, yanking my head back. You went through my phone? After everything I do for you? I pay for that boutique. I pay for this house. I pay for your mother's medication in Enugu. With my money too, I managed to say, remembering the joint account I'd foolishly agreed to 3 years ago. My boutique, Adanna's Collections, had grown beyond my dreams. I was pulling in 8 million Nigerian nairas monthly, yet I barely had 50,000 Nigerian nairas in personal savings. Where had it all gone? I knew where. Into Blessing's lifestyle. The new Range Rover she was driving. The luxury apartment in Banana Island she claimed her business paid for. Chukwemeka released me, and I crumpled to the floor among scattered Christmas decorations. You're nothing without me, he said, straightening his shirt. Remember that. You and that bastard child upstairs. My blood went cold. Chioma is your daughter. Is she? He smiled cruelly, grabbing his car keys. Ask your precious friend Blessing about the DNA test I did last year. Merry Christmas, Adanna. The door slammed. His Mercedes engine roared to life in our driveway, then faded into the Lagos night. I lay there on the cold marble floor, blood dripping from my mouth, mind reeling. Chioma wasn't his. Impossible. Unless. The memory hit me like another punch. 10 years ago, before we married. That conference in Abuja. Blessing had introduced me to Chukwemeka, but there'd been another man that weekend. His business partner, Obinna. We'd all gotten drunk one night. The details were fuzzy. I'd always assumed Chioma was Emeka's because we married 2 months later, and he'd never questioned it. Until now. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. I have proof of what they've been doing. Meet me tomorrow at Cafe Neo, Admiralty Way. 10 a.m. Come alone. Adanna. If you're already hooked on this revenge story, smash that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Drop a comment telling us, should Adanna meet Adanna, or is this another trap? Don't forget to share this with someone who loves intense African marriage drama. I stood in front of my bathroom mirror on Christmas morning, barely recognizing the woman staring back. My lip was split and swollen, my left eye purple and nearly shut. But it was the gap where my two front teeth used to be that made me look like a stranger. I'd spent the night on the bathroom floor, too afraid to move, listening to Chioma's soft crying through the walls. The house felt different in daylight, like a crime scene after the police tape comes down. Everything looked the same, but nothing would ever be the same again. I'd called in sick to my boutique, telling my manager and Kem some lie about food poisoning. The truth was too ugly for Christmas morning explanations. My phone showed 47 missed calls. 30 from Emeka's mother, 12 from my own mother in Enugu, 5 from my sister Adiz. I couldn't face any of them yet. Not with this face. Not with these questions burning in my mind. Chioma appeared in the doorway, still in her Christmas pajamas, the red ones with white snowflakes that made no sense in Lagos heat, but she'd begged for anyway. Her eyes widened when she saw me. "Mummy," she whispered. "It's okay, baby." I tried to smile, but my face wouldn't cooperate. Mummy just fell. You know how clumsy I can be. She didn't believe me. 9 years old, and already she knew the language of domestic violence. The careful lies, the hushed voices, the way we pretended everything was fine when Daddy came home with flowers and apologies. This cycle of emotional manipulation had become her normal, and that realization broke something fundamental inside me. "Where's Daddy?" she asked quietly. "He had to work. Even on Christmas." Another lie. They came so easily now. I made her breakfast, akara and pap, while she opened her presents alone. Emeka had bought her an iPad she didn't need and a gold necklace that cost more than most families' Christmas budget. Guilt gifts. I'd wrapped books and art supplies, things that fed her spirit instead of just filling space. My phone buzzed. "Emeka, I'm sorry about last night. You pushed me too far. I'm at my mother's. We'll talk after New Year." The infidelity in marriage was one thing. The violence was another. But this text, this casual dismissal, this blame shifting, ignited something cold and calculating in my chest. I screenshotted the message and his earlier texts about the DNA test. Evidence. I needed evidence. At 9:30 a.m., I told Chioma I had to run to the boutique for an emergency. She nodded, resigned to adult lies. I wore oversized sunglasses and a headscarf, covering as much of my battered face as possible. Cafe Neo in Admiralty Way, Lekki, was surprisingly quiet for Boxing Day. Most Lagos families were still nursing Christmas hangovers or hitting the ShopRite sales. I spotted Adanna immediately, tall, dark-skinned, sitting in the corner booth wearing a white kaftan. He'd aged well in 10 years, still carrying that quiet intensity that had attracted me at that Abuja conference. He stood when I approached, then froze when he saw my face despite the sunglasses. "Jesus Christ, Adanna." His voice was low, urgent. "He did this." I sat down quickly, not wanting a scene. "What proof do you have, Adanna? And why are you contacting me now, after all these years?" He slid a brown envelope across the table. "Because I've been watching this cheating spouse destroy you for too long, and because—" He paused, his jaw tightening. "Because Chioma might be my daughter." The world tilted. "What? That night in Abuja? You don't remember all of it, do you? Emeka and Blessing drugged your drink. They had plans even then. He needed a wife with a successful family business to help launder his money, and you were perfect. Your father's import company, your family's reputation. But you and I, we connected that night before the drugs hit. Before Emeka took you back to your room. I wanted to call him a liar, but pieces were clicking together. The fuzzy memories. The way Emeka had rushed our marriage. How Blessing had been so insistent I not get a paternity test when I expressed doubts early in my pregnancy. She looks just like Emeka, Blessing had said. Don't insult him with suspicions. Open the envelope, Adanna said. Inside were bank statements showing transfers from our joint account, my boutique money, into offshore accounts in Blessing's name. Property deeds for 3 houses in Abuja I'd never heard of, all purchased with my funds. Photos of Emeka and Blessing together, dating back 7 years. And a DNA test from 2 weeks ago. Adanna had somehow gotten Chioma's sample. The test says there's a 99.7% probability I'm her father, he said quietly. I had a private investigator collect her hairbrush when she was at the park with your nanny last month. I know it's invasive, but I needed to know before I approached you. This is insane, I breathed, flipping through documents showing systematic financial fraud. My boutique profits, nearly 300 million Nigerian nairas over 3 years, had been funneled into properties and accounts I couldn't access. The public disgrace of this betrayal would be devastating if it got out. My family. My reputation. Everything. There's more, Adanna said, his expression darkening. Emeka's been laundering money for a politician, Senator Adewale. Drug money, specifically. That's what the properties are for. If this comes out, you could be implicated as his wife. That's why I'm here. We need to act fast, or you're going down with him. My hands shook. Why should I trust you? Because I've loved you since that night in Abuja. Because I want to be a father to Chioma if she is mine. And because... He leaned forward. I have Senator Adewale's protection. He owes me for keeping quiet about certain indiscretions. If you want revenge, real revenge that makes Chukwuemeka lose everything, I can help you. But you have to decide now. My phone buzzed. A text from Blessing. I heard about Christmas Eve. He told me everything. You should leave him, hun. You deserve better. Call me if you need to talk. So. The audacity. The sheer, brazen emotional manipulation of this woman I'd called sister. I looked at Adanna. At the evidence of my husband's betrayal. At the DNA test that made my daughter someone else's child. What's your plan? I asked. He smiled slowly. We make him lose everything he stole from you. The money. The reputation. His freedom. And we make sure Blessing goes down with him. I'm in, I said without hesitation. Good. Because there's a complication. His smile faded. Senator Adewale wants his money by January 15th. Nigerian naira 500 million that Emeka was supposed to deliver. If Emeka can't pay, the senator will make an example of him. And you, since you're still legally his wife and business partner. How much time do we have? 3 weeks. We need to drain Emeka's accounts, expose the affair, file for divorce, and get you clear of any criminal liability before the senator realizes what's happening. It's going to be messy, Adanna. Are you ready for this kind of revenge story? I thought of my broken teeth. My daughter's frightened eyes. 3 years of stolen money and stolen dignity. I'm not just ready, I said. I'm going to destroy them both. What would you do with evidence like this? Would you go to the police or handle it yourself? Comment your thoughts below. The morning of December 27th, I walked into my boutique for the first time since Christmas Eve wearing a full face of makeup that couldn't quite hide the bruising. Nkem, my manager, took one look at me and her hand flew to her mouth. Madam, your face. Not now, Nkem. I moved past her into my office, the small room at the back where I'd built my empire from nothing. 3 years of 12-hour days, of personally selecting fabrics from Balogun Market, of building relationships with suppliers and customers. And Chukwuemeka had stolen it all while I slept beside him at night. I pulled up my laptop and began the work Adanna had outlined. First step. Change all my business passwords. Second step. Open a new account at a different bank, Access Bank instead of First Bank where Emeka had connections. Third step. Contact my lawyer. Barrister Ngozi Okonkwo arrived within an hour. She was a woman in her 60s, sharp-eyed and efficient, recommended by Obinna through back channels. She took photos of my injuries without comment, then laid out a folder on my desk. Your husband has been committing wire fraud, money laundering, and financial abuse, she said matter-of-factly. The evidence Mr. Obinna provided is substantial. But here's the problem. As his wife and business partner in your joint account, you're legally vulnerable. Any prosecutor could argue you knew about the transactions. My stomach dropped. But I didn't know. I trusted him with our finances. Trust isn't a legal defense, Mrs. Okafor. However, we can build a case for you as a victim. The domestic violence helps. It establishes a pattern of control and manipulation. We'll file for divorce immediately, citing abuse and infidelity in marriage. We'll also file a police report about the assault, get a restraining order, and most importantly, we'll freeze all joint accounts before he can move more money. He'll fight back, I said quietly. Let him. By the time he realizes what's happening, we'll have documented everything. Ngozi leaned forward. But I need to know, are you prepared for this to become public? Nigeria loves a scandal. Your cheating spouse, the violence, the DNA questions about your daughter. This will be everywhere. Social media, blogs. Your family will face questions. I thought of my mother in Enugu, her blood pressure already high. My father's reputation in his business circles. The whispers at church, at weddings, at every Owambi party for the next year. Then I thought of Chioma, growing up watching her mother accept abuse. Learning that this was what marriage looked like. That women stayed silent while men destroyed them. I'm prepared, I said. Let them talk. I want my life back. Ngozi smiled grimly. Then let's begin. By noon, we'd filed the divorce papers and restraining order. By 2 p.m., the joint accounts were frozen by court order. By 4 p.m., my injuries were documented at a private hospital, and a police report was filed at Morocco police station. By 5 p.m., all hell broke loose. My phone exploded with calls. Emeka's mother first. Adanna, what is this madness? Filing for divorce on Boxing Day? Have you lost your mind? After everything my son has done for you. I didn't answer. Then my own mother. Ada, people are calling me. They're saying you put your husband in trouble with police. On Christmas. What will people say? I let it ring. The emotional manipulation from both families was predictable. Nigerian marriages weren't supposed to end, especially not publicly. Especially not with police involvement and frozen bank accounts. But it was Chukwuemeka's call at 6 p.m. that made my hands shake. You fucking bitch, he hissed. You froze my accounts? You filed a restraining order? Do you have any idea what you've just done? I know exactly what I've done, I said calmly, surprised by how steady my voice sounded. I've stopped you from stealing more of my money. I've protected myself and Chioma from your violence. And I've started the process of leaving you. Chioma, he laughed bitterly. You mean Obinna's daughter? Yes, I know you met with him. I have eyes everywhere, Adanna. You think you're smart? You think you can just walk away from me? The DNA test you mentioned on Christmas Eve, I said. Did you really do it, or were you just trying to hurt me? Silence. Then, I did it 6 months ago. 0% probability of paternity. You gave me another man's child, and I raised her like a fool for 9 years. So yes, I've been fucking your best friend. I deserve that much after what you did to me. The co-parenting conflict he was setting up was clear. He'd use the DNA results to avoid child support, to hurt Chioma, to punish me through our daughter. The betrayal cut deeper than I expected. Even knowing the truth, hearing him confirm it felt like another kind of violence. You deserve prison, I said quietly. And you're about to get it. Senator Adewale is expecting 500 million Nigerian nairas on January 15th, isn't he? Money you've already spent on properties with Blessing. What happens when you can't pay? Another silence. Longer this time. What do you know about the senator? Everything. Bank transfers. Property deeds. The whole money laundering scheme. And I'm prepared to give it all to the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission unless you agree to my terms. You wouldn't. But his voice wavered. You'd go to prison too. I have evidence that I'm a victim, Emeka. Documented abuse. Proof that you controlled all finances. Testimony from Adanna about how you drugged me 10 years ago to force a marriage. My lawyer says I'm covered. But you're finished. What do you want? The fight had left his voice. This was the moment, the power shift in our domestic betrayal story where the victim became the victor. I want the 3 properties in Abuja transferred to my name by midnight tonight. I want 50 million Nigerian nairas wired to my new personal account as restitution for what you stole. I want a signed confession of your affair with Blessing. I want you to agree to 0 custody of Chioma and 0 child support obligations, because we both know she's not yours. And I want you to leave Lagos for the next month while the divorce processes. Go to Abuja, go to London, I don't care. Just disappear. That's insane. Or I give everything to EFCC tomorrow morning. Your choice. Oh, and Emeka. Blessing goes down with you. The properties are in her name. The bank accounts are joint. If you burn, she burns too. I could hear him breathing heavily on the other end, calculating, weighing his options. The public disgrace of a criminal investigation versus giving me what I wanted. His freedom versus his pride. I need time, he finally said. You have until midnight. After that, I'm sending everything to EFCC, to Senator Adewale, and to every blog in Lagos. Your choice. I hung up before he could respond. My hands were shaking now, adrenaline crashing through my system. Nkem appeared in my doorway with tea I didn't remember asking for. Madam, there's someone here to see you. She says it's urgent. Who? Blessing Adelique. My blood went cold. Send her away. She says if you don't talk to her, she's going to the blogs with her side of the story. She says you're lying about Mr. Chukwuemeka, and she has proof. Of course she did. This was the counter-move I should have anticipated. Blessing wasn't going to go down quietly, and she had 7 years of friendship with me to weaponize. Photos of us together. Text messages I'd sent her complaining about my marriage. Evidence she could twist to make me look unstable, vindictive, a liar. The revenge story was getting more complicated. Let her in, I said quietly. But stay close, Nkem. Record everything on your phone from the hallway. Blessing walked in looking perfect. Hair freshly done, designer bag, red lipstick that matched her nails. She'd always been beautiful, but now I could only see the snake beneath the skin. Adanna. She sat down uninvited, crossing her legs. We need to talk about this misunderstanding. Misunderstanding. I almost laughed. Is that what we're calling infidelity now? Emeka and I are in love. We have been for years. You were never right for him, you know that. This marriage was a business arrangement that went on too long. She leaned forward, her voice dropping. But I'm not here to hurt you. I'm here to make you an offer. I'm listening. Drop the divorce. Drop the police report. Drop whatever nonsense you're planning with that EFCC evidence. In exchange, Emeka will give you 20 million Nigerian nairas and let you keep the boutique. You can start fresh, find someone who actually loves you. We'll all move on quietly. And Chioma? Obinna can have her if the DNA proves it. She's not Emeka's problem anymore. See? We're being generous. The casual cruelty of it, offering my daughter like a used car they no longer wanted, made rage bloom in my chest. Here's my counter-offer, I said softly. You have until midnight to transfer your half of those Abuja properties to my name and disappear from Lagos for 6 months. Otherwise, I'm sending evidence of your money laundering activities to EFCC, to your family in Calabar, and to every business associate you have. Your reputation, your lifestyle, your freedom, all gone by New Year's. Her smile faltered. You're bluffing. Try me. You knew he was beating me. Blessing. You knew and you didn't care. You helped him steal from me for years. You destroyed our friendship, my marriage, my trust in everyone around me. Did you really think I'd just take 20 million Nigerian nairas and walk away quietly? She stood abruptly, her mask finally cracking. You self-righteous bitch. You think you're better than everyone with your little boutique and your fake perfect life. You drove Emeka to me with your coldness, your obsession with work. Get out, I said quietly. Midnight. Blessing. Make your choice. She stormed out, slamming my office door hard enough to rattle the windows. I sat there in the silence that followed, my heart pounding. I'd just declared war on 2 people who had nothing to lose and everything to fight for. This could go very wrong very fast. My phone buzzed. A text from Obinna. Senator Adewale knows something's happening. He's asking questions. We need to move faster. Can you come to Abuja tomorrow? I have someone who can help us, but it has to be in person. Another complication. Another risk. Another step deeper into a revenge plot that was spiraling beyond my control. But turning back meant letting them win. It meant teaching Chioma that women who fight back lose. It meant spending the rest of my life wondering what if. I texted back, book me a flight. First thing tomorrow morning. This story is heating up. Should Adanna trust Obinna enough to go to Abuja, or is she walking into another trap? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If you're loving this African marriage drama, hit that subscribe button and share this with your friends. The flight to Abuja left Murtala Muhammad Airport at 6 a.m. I'd left Chioma with my sister Adiz, who asked too many questions I didn't have time to answer. Just keep her away from Emeka, I'd said. And don't let anyone from his family near her. Adiz had seen my face, the missing teeth I could no longer hide behind lipstick and forced smiles. She'd hugged me tight without another word. Go handle your business, Ada. We'll be here when you get back. Obinna met me at Nnamdi Azikiwe Airport wearing casual clothes, jeans and a polo shirt that made him look younger, less threatening than the suited businessman from the cafe. His face softened when he saw me. How are you holding up? He asked, taking my small suitcase. I'm standing, I said. That's more than Emeka expected by now. We drove through Abuja's wide streets toward Maitama, the upscale district where politicians and oil money built mansions behind high walls. The city felt different from Lagos, more planned, more spacious, but just as corrupt beneath its orderly surface. The man we're meeting is Ibrahim Khalil, Obinna explained as he drove. He's a forensic accountant who's worked with EFCC on major cases. Discreetly. He owes me from a situation years ago, and he's willing to help us build an airtight case against Emeka and Senator Adewale. Why would he risk going after a senator? I asked. Obinna's jaw tightened. Because Senator Adewale had his brother killed 3 years ago over a land dispute. Ibrahim's been waiting for the right moment to take him down. You're giving him that moment. The weight of what we were doing settled over me. This wasn't just about my marriage anymore, or even about the money. We were going after powerful people who made problems disappear. People who'd killed before. Obinna, I said quietly. If this goes wrong, it won't. Trust me. But I could hear the tension in his voice. He was scared too, just hiding it better. We pulled up to a modest house, not the mansion I'd expected. Ibrahim answered the door himself, a thin man in his 50s with wire-rimmed glasses and careful eyes. His sitting room was lined with bookshelves, papers stacked neatly on every surface. Mrs. Okafor, he greeted me formally. I'm sorry we're meeting under these circumstances. Please, sit. For the next 2 hours, Ibrahim walked me through the money trail. Every naira Chukwuemeka had stolen was mapped out on spreadsheets and documents. The properties in Abuja, worth 450 million Nigerian nairas combined. The offshore accounts in Blessing's name, another 180 million Nigerian nairas. Smaller transactions to various women, cars, a boat I'd never known about. In total, your husband has diverted approximately 620 million Nigerian nairas from your business over 3 years, Ibrahim said. Senator Adewale's money, the 500 million Nigerian nairas, was supposed to be laundered through property purchases and then returned to him clean by January 15th. But your husband got greedy. He spent some on personal luxuries. Now he's short about 150 million Nigerian nairas. What happens when the senator realizes Emeka can't pay? I asked. Ibrahim and Obinna exchanged a look. People disappear, Ibrahim said simply. The senator doesn't accept excuses or delays. And if he discovers that you've frozen the accounts and claimed the properties, he'll come after you too. My mouth went dry. So what do? We give him someone else to blame, Obinna said. We make it look like Blessing masterminded the whole scheme. She has the properties in her name. The offshore accounts. We have evidence of her affair with Emeka. Photos, hotel records, everything. We frame this as her manipulating both you and the senator, using Emeka as her puppet. But that's not entirely true, I said, even though part of me wanted to watch Blessing burn. True enough, Ibrahim countered. She was complicit in everything. She benefited. And more importantly, she doesn't have your documentation proving you're a victim. When EFCC investigates, you'll have evidence of abuse, of being kept in the dark about finances. She'll have nothing but guilt. It was ruthless. It was perfect. It was exactly the kind of revenge that would destroy Blessing's life while protecting mine. There's one problem, I said slowly. Emeka knows I have the evidence. He'll tell the senator I'm the one behind this. Which is why we need to move tonight, Obinna said urgently. We file with EFCC before midnight. We give them everything, the full money trail, the properties, Senator Adewale's involvement. We make you the whistleblower instead of the suspect. By tomorrow morning, EFCC will raid both Emeka's and Blessing's properties. The senator will find out his money's gone and his name is in an investigation file. His rage will focus on them, not you. And what about protection for me and Chioma? I asked. If the senator is as dangerous as you say, you'll stay in Abuja for the next week, Ibrahim said. I have a safe house. Untraceable. Your daughter can join you tomorrow. By the time you return to Lagos, the senator will already be dealing with his own problems. EFCC doesn't move slowly when politicians are involved. He'll be too busy saving himself to worry about you. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Your husband didn't meet the midnight deadline. Neither did the whore. Senator Adewale is very disappointed. Expect consequences. My blood turned to ice. Obinna. He read the message over my shoulder, his face darkening. That's not the senator's style. That's Emeka trying to scare you. The senator doesn't send text messages, he sends men. But even as he said it, I saw doubt in his eyes. Another text came through, this time with a photo attachment. My boutique. Nkem standing outside locking up for the night. A red circle drawn around her in the photo. Pretty manager you have. Would be a shame if something happened to her. Call her, Obinna said urgently. Now. I dialed Nkem's number with shaking hands. It rang once, twice, 3 times. Then voicemail. We need to send someone, I started. My phone rang. Nkem's number. Nkem, thank God. Mrs. Okafor? A man's voice. Deep. Calm. Terrifying in its composure. Your manager is fine. For now. But we need to discuss your recent activities. The divorce filing. The frozen accounts. The very unwise decision to threaten Senator Adewale's business interests. Who is this? But I already knew. This was the voice of someone who made people disappear. Someone who solves problems. And right now, Mrs. Okafor, you are a very big problem. You have 24 hours to unfreeze those accounts, drop all charges against your husband, and transfer the Abuja properties back to their original names. If you don't, your manager will be the first consequence. Then your sister. Then your daughter. Do we understand each other? The line went dead. I looked at Obinna and Ibrahim, my whole body shaking. They have Nkem. They're threatening Chioma. This changes everything, Ibrahim said, already pulling out his laptop. We can't wait until tomorrow. We need to move now, tonight, or they'll escalate. But if we file with EFCC tonight, won't that make them angry? I asked. Won't they hurt Nkem? They're going to hurt someone either way, Obinna said grimly. Right now we have evidence and legal protection. If we back down, we have nothing. They'll take everything from you and kill you anyway to tie up loose ends. Our only chance is to move fast enough that EFCC and the media attention protect you. What about Nkem? My voice cracked. She's innocent. She doesn't deserve this. Ibrahim was already typing, phone pressed to his ear. I'm calling EFCC now. Emergency whistleblower situation. They can move within the hour if we give them everything. And Kem. I repeated desperately. We're calling the police too. Kidnapping charges. It's risky. Police in Lagos can be bought. But if we make enough noise, if we get media involved, they'll have to let her go. Too much attention. Too much attention gets us killed, I said, but even as I spoke, I knew we'd crossed a line we couldn't uncross. The moment I'd frozen those accounts, the moment I'd threatened to expose the senator, I'd started a countdown I couldn't stop. My phone buzzed again. A video this time. Nkem was sitting in what looked like an empty warehouse, duct tape over her mouth, tears streaming down her face. A man's hand appeared, holding a machete near her neck. 24 hours, Mrs. Okafor. Tick-tock. I made a sound between a sob and a scream. This was my fault. Nkem's terror, Chioma's danger, everything spiraling out of control. All because I'd wanted revenge on my cheating spouse and didn't consider who else might get hurt. I can't do this, I whispered. I can't let innocent people die for my revenge. Obinna grabbed my shoulders, forcing me to look at him. Adanna, listen to me. These men don't let people go because you cooperate. They hurt people to send messages. If you give them what they want, they'll still kill Nkem to prove they're serious. Your only option, the only way to save her and yourself, is to make this so public, so loud, that they can't operate in darkness anymore. He's right, Ibrahim added, still typing frantically. EFCC is mobilizing now. I'm sending them everything. Bank records, property deeds, the senator's involvement. Within 2 hours, this will be a national scandal. Blogs will have it. News outlets. Everyone. The senator can't make people disappear when the whole country is watching. But 2 hours might be too late for Nkem, I said. Then we make it 1 hour, Obinna said, pulling out his own phone. I'm calling every journalist I know. Every blogger. We're releasing everything ourselves right now. We turn you into a hero. Battered wife exposes husband's corruption. Risks everything for justice. By the time the senator's men realize what's happening, it'll be too late to stop it. I thought about Chioma, safe with Adiz for now. About my mother in Enugu who'd raised me to be strong, even when it wasn't convenient. About Nkem, terrified in that warehouse because she'd been loyal to me. About every woman who'd ever been beaten, cheated on, manipulated, and told to stay silent for the sake of peace. Do it, I said. Release everything. Make me famous if you have to. I'm done hiding. Ibrahim nodded, hitting send on his laptop. EFCC has the files. Raids will begin in 45 minutes. Adanna was already recording a video message. Breaking news. Domestic abuse survivor exposes husband's 620 million Nigerian naira's fraud scheme and Senator Adewale's money laundering operation. Full evidence attached. #Justice for Adanna. #Nigerian women deserve better. He posted it to Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, every platform simultaneously. Within 5 minutes, my phone exploded with notifications, shares, comments, news outlets requesting interviews. Within 10 minutes, #Justice for Adanna was trending in Lagos. Within 15 minutes, the first news blog published the story with my battered face in the photos Barrister Ngozi had taken. Within 20 minutes, I was the most famous domestic violence survivor in Nigeria. And somewhere in Lagos, men holding Kem hostage were realizing they'd made a very public mistake. Should Adanna have gone public, or did she just sign everyone's death warrant? What would you do in her position? Drop your predictions in the comments. The notifications wouldn't stop. My phone buzzed continuously as Nigeria woke up to my story. The battered face, the missing teeth, the 620 million Nigerian naira's fraud, Senator Adewale's name in black and white. By 8 a.m., I'd received interview requests from Channels TV, Arise News, even CNN Africa. By 9 a.m., protesters were gathering outside EFCC headquarters demanding action. By 10 a.m., the #, Justice for Adanna had over 200,000 tweets. Ibrahim's phone rang. He listened intently, his expression shifting from tense to cautiously hopeful. They found her. Police just raided the warehouse in Ajagunal. Nkem is safe. Shaken but unharmed. They arrested 3 men, low-level thugs who are already talking, trying to make deals. I collapsed into the nearest chair, relief flooding through me so intensely I thought I might faint. Thank God. Thank God. The media attention worked, Adanna said, showing me his phone screen. Look, Punch newspaper just published an editorial calling for Senator Adewale's immediate arrest. Premium Times is running a full exposé on political money laundering. You're not just a story anymore, Adanna. You're a movement. But movements came with consequences I was only beginning to understand. My phone rang. My mother. I'd been avoiding her calls since Christmas, but now there was no hiding. I answered, bracing myself. Ada. Her voice was tight with emotion. I'm watching you on television. Your face. Everyone is calling me. The whole church knows. Your father's business partners are asking questions. Mama, I'm sorry I didn't tell you everything. Sorry. She laughed, but it wasn't a happy sound. Ada, you're on every news channel in Nigeria. You've accused a senator of crimes. You've destroyed your marriage publicly. Do you understand what this means for our family? It means I'm telling the truth, Mama. It means I'm not letting Emeka beat me anymore or steal from me. Isn't that what you always taught me? To stand up for myself. Silence. Then softer. I taught you to be strong, yes. But I also taught you to be wise. This kind of public disgrace. Ada, there are other ways to handle marital problems. Private ways. You didn't have to make us all a spectacle. The disappointment in her voice cut deeper than any of Emeka's punches. This was the price of going public, not just my reputation, but my family's comfort, their standing in society, their ability to pretend everything was fine. I had to, Mama. For Chioma. So she doesn't grow up thinking this is normal. So she doesn't marry a man like her father and accept it. Another pause. Chioma. My mother's voice cracked. The things they're saying about her paternity, Ada. Is it true? Is she not Emeka's daughter? I don't know yet, Mama. We're doing another DNA test to be sure. But even if she's not, she's still my daughter. Still your granddaughter. Nothing changes that. Everything changes that, my mother said quietly. Everything. She hung up. I sat there staring at my phone, feeling the weight of what I'd done. In Nigerian culture, family reputation was everything. Marriages were meant to be preserved, conflicts handled privately, dirty laundry kept firmly behind closed doors. By going public, I hadn't just exposed Emeka and Senator Adewale. I'd exposed my entire family to scrutiny, judgment, shame. But what was the alternative? Silence. More beatings. Teaching Chioma that women should suffer quietly for the sake of appearances? Ibrahim's laptop pinged. EFCC just raided Blessing's apartment in Banana Island. They're seizing everything. Computers, documents, phones. She's being taken in for questioning now. Despite everything, I felt a pang of something complicated. Blessing and I had been friends for 15 years. We'd shared secrets, dreams, failures. She'd held my hand through my father's illness, through Chioma's difficult birth, through every major moment of my adult life. The betrayal hurt worse than Emeka's violence because I'd never seen it coming. Trust broken by someone you loved felt different from the expected cruelty of an abuser. "Are you okay?" Obinna asked gently, reading my expression. "No," I said honestly. "This whole thing, the revenge, the publicity, Blessing's arrest, it doesn't feel like winning. It feels like everyone loses." "That's because you're a good person," he said. "Good people don't enjoy watching others suffer, even when they deserve it. But Adanna, you need to understand something. This isn't about revenge anymore. This is about survival. The moment you froze those accounts, the moment you threatened the senator, you made yourself a target. Going public was the only way to stay alive." My phone buzzed with a new number. Against my better judgment, I answered. "Mrs. Okafor." The same calm, terrifying voice from last night. "You've made quite the splash. Congratulations. You've won the media war. But you've started a real war you can't possibly win. Who are you?" I demanded. "Someone who admires your courage and mourns your stupidity in equal measure. Senator Adewale sends his regards. He wants you to know that trending hashtags don't stop bullets. That EFCC investigations take months, sometimes years. That accidents happen every day in Lagos. Car crashes, robberies gone wrong, gas explosions. Your daughter is 9 years old, correct? Children are so vulnerable." Ice flooded my veins. "If you touch Chioma, we won't have to. You'll do exactly what we ask, when we ask it, or you'll never see her again. The EFCC has 48 hours to close this investigation and return the senator's properties. You have 48 hours to publicly recount your story. Call it a misunderstanding, a bitter divorce, whatever lie you prefer. Otherwise, your daughter disappears. Am I being clear enough?" The line went dead. I looked at Obinna and Ibrahim, my hands shaking so badly I almost dropped the phone. "They're threatening Chioma. 48 hours to recant everything or they take her." "Where is she now?" Obinna asked urgently. "With my sister Adiz in Lagos. I told her to keep her safe, but call her now. Tell her to bring Chioma to the airport immediately. We're getting your daughter out of Lagos today." I dialed Adiz's number. It went straight to voicemail. I tried again. Same result. "Her phone's off," I said, panic rising in my throat. "She never turns her phone off. Never." Ibrahim was already on his laptop. "I'm tracking her phone's last location through. Don't ask how I know how to do this. Last ping was Victoria Island. Your boutique. Why would she go there?" I asked, but even as the words left my mouth, I knew. Adiz would have gone to collect some of Chioma's things, maybe some clothes from my apartment above the shop. She wouldn't have known she was walking into danger. Obinna was calling someone, speaking rapidly in Igbo. He hung up and grabbed his car keys. "I have people in Lagos. They're heading to your boutique now. But Adanna, we need to assume the worst. If the senator's men have your sister and daughter, we have less than 48 hours. We have right now. What do we do?" I asked desperately. I can't let them hurt Chioma. I don't care about the money or the investigation or any of it. Not if it costs my daughter's life. Which is exactly what they're counting on, Ibrahim said grimly. This is the co-parenting conflict from hell. They know a mother will trade anything for her child. But Adanna, if you recant now, if you make EFCC close this investigation, you're not saving Chioma. You're just buying time before they kill all of you anyway. Dead witnesses can't testify. Then what's the alternative? I shouted. Let them take my daughter while I hide in Abuja playing revenge games? The alternative is we find them first, Obinna said with cold determination. The men they arrested in that warehouse, they're talking. One of them just gave up a location. A house in Lekki where Senator Adewale's security team operates from. If your sister and daughter were taken, that's where they'd be. So we go there, I said immediately. Right now. It's a 3-hour flight back to Lagos, and we don't have 3 hours, Ibrahim said, typing furiously. But I can get an emergency team there within 30 minutes. Police, EFCC agents, media, everyone. Make it impossible for them to harm anyone without witnesses. Do it, I said. Whatever it takes. My phone rang again. This time it was a FaceTime call from an unknown number. I answered with shaking hands. Chioma's face appeared on screen. She was crying, tape over her mouth, sitting in what looked like a car. Behind her, I could see Adiz, also bound and gagged. A man's voice spoke from off-screen. Mrs. Okafor, you have a choice to make. Your sister or your daughter. We can't keep both. Which one dies first? The world stopped. The emotional manipulation was complete. Make me choose, make me feel responsible, make me believe their deaths would be my fault. This was domestic betrayal evolved into something monstrous. A power play designed to break me completely. Please, I whispered. Please don't hurt them. They're innocent. Take me instead. We don't want you, Mrs. Okafor. We want obedience. Recount your story in the next 10 minutes. Call that journalist from Channels TV. Tell them you lied about everything. The abuse, the money laundering, Senator Adewale's involvement. Say it was all revenge for infidelity in marriage. Nothing more. Do that, and we'll return your family unharmed. And if I don't, then you'll spend the rest of your life wondering which one we killed first. The call ended. I looked at the men around me. How long until your team reaches that Lekki house? 20 minutes, Ibrahim said. But call Channels TV, I said, standing up. Get them on the phone. Now. Adanna, if you recant, Obinna started. I'm not recanting, I said, my voice surprisingly steady despite the terror coursing through me. I'm stalling. I'm going to give that interview, tell them I need time to gather my thoughts after the trauma, ask them to give me a live slot in 15 minutes. By then, your team will be at that house. The call will be traced. We'll have them surrounded before I say a word. That's incredibly risky, Ibrahim warned. If anything goes wrong. Everything's already wrong, I said. But I'm not backing down. I'm not teaching Chioma that women surrender to men who threaten violence. Even if it costs me everything, I'm not going back to being silent. Ibrahim made the call to Channels TV. They agreed immediately. The biggest story in Nigeria wanted to give a live interview. They'd clear their schedule. Obinna's phone rang. He answered, listened, his face going pale. They found your boutique manager, Nkem. They killed her, Adanna. Made it look like a robbery. The police are calling it an accident, but we know better. She was released this morning and dead by noon. They're sending a message. The room spun. Nkem, sweet, loyal Nkem who'd never hurt anyone, who'd worked for me for 3 years, who had a fiancé and a mother in Calabar and dreams of opening her own shop someday. Dead because she worked for me. Dead because I'd started this war. How many more people have to die? I whispered. As many as it takes for them to win, Adanna said quietly. Unless we finish this first. Adanna, I know this is hell. I know you're terrified. But you're also the bravest person I've ever met. Finish what you started. For Nkem. For Chioma. For every woman in Nigeria who's being beaten right now and thinks she has no choice but to stay silent. I thought of my mother's disappointment. Of my father's reputation. Of Nkem's body in a morgue somewhere. Of Chioma and Adi's bound and terrified in a car. Of every choice that had led me to this moment. Get me on that TV interview, I said. And tell your team in Lekki, no mistakes. If my daughter dies today, everyone involved burns with her. The stakes have never been higher. Will Adanna's gamble save her family or destroy them? What would you do in her position? Recant and hope for mercy, or fight until the end? Comment your thoughts. This is the most intense chapter yet. If you're hooked, smash that like button and subscribe. We need to know, where are you watching from, and are you Team Adanna all the way? Let us know below. The channel's TV studio in Abuja was freezing cold, or maybe that was just my body shutting down from shock. They'd sent a car for me within minutes, rushing me through makeup that couldn't quite hide the exhaustion in my eyes or the gap where my teeth used to be. The makeup artist kept glancing at me with a mixture of pity and curiosity. I was the story everyone in Nigeria was talking about, sitting right in front of her. We're live in 2 minutes, Mrs. Okafor, the producer said, adjusting my microphone. Son will ask you about the abuse, the financial fraud, and Senator Adewale's involvement. Just speak from your heart. My heart was screaming. Ibrahim sat in the green room, laptop open, coordinating with the team surrounding the Lekki house. Obinna was on his phone with police contacts, making sure they couldn't be bought off before they reached Chioma and Adi's. We'd traced the FaceTime call to a location 3 streets away from the senator's security headquarters. We had 15 minutes before the raid began. I had to keep them talking for 15 minutes. Keep them watching me instead of looking outside their windows. My phone buzzed silently in my lap. A text. We're watching, Mrs. Okafor. Say the wrong thing and your daughter dies on camera. We can make it happen before anyone reaches that house. Try us. They knew. Of course they knew. They probably had people inside EFCC, inside the police, maybe even inside this television station. The infidelity in marriage I'd suffered seemed almost quaint now compared to the conspiracy of violence surrounding me. 30 seconds, someone called out. I closed my eyes and thought about Chioma. The way she laughed at terrible jokes. How she'd started drawing elaborate fashion designs, wanting to be like her mother. The trust in her eyes when she looked at me, believing I could keep her safe from anything. I'd failed her so far. Maybe this was my chance to finally get it right. And we live in 5, 4, 3. Son Okinbaloy, the veteran journalist, turned to camera with his practiced gravitas. Good evening, Nigeria. I'm here with Adanna Okafor, the woman whose story has captured the nation's attention over the past 24 hours. Mrs. Okafor, thank you for joining us during what must be an incredibly difficult time. Thank you for having me, I said, my voice surprisingly steady. Let's start with the most pressing question. The photos of your injuries have shocked many Nigerians. Can you tell us what happened on Christmas Eve? I took a breath and began. Not the recantation they demanded, but the truth. Every detail of that night. Emeka's fists. My broken teeth hitting the floor. Chioma's door staying closed because a 9-year-old had learned that safety meant silence. The blood on our Christmas decorations. But this wasn't the first time he'd hurt you, Son prompted gently. No. The domestic violence started about a year into our marriage. Small things at first. Pushing, grabbing too hard, calling me names. Then it escalated. By the 3rd year, I was hiding bruises under makeup and making excuses about walking into doors. Classic abuse victim behavior. I thought if I was a better wife, if I cooked his favorite meals and didn't question him, it would stop. What changed? Why come forward now? I discovered the financial fraud, I said, watching the clock. 8 minutes left. My husband and my former best friend, Blessing Adele, had been stealing from my business for 3 years. Over 620 million Nigerian nairas funneled into properties and accounts I couldn't access. Money that was supposed to be laundered for Senator Adewale. Soan's eyebrows rose. That's a serious accusation against a sitting senator. It's not an accusation. It's a fact backed by bank records, property deeds, and testimony from multiple sources. Senator Adewale has been using my husband as a middleman to clean drug money through real estate purchases. I have all the evidence, and I've turned it over to EFCC. My phone buzzed. Last warning. Recant now or watch your daughter die. But I couldn't recant. Because somewhere in Lekki, Ibrahim's team was moving into position. Because Nkem was already dead, and her death couldn't be meaningless. Because every woman in Nigeria watching this needed to see that fighting back was possible. Mrs. Okafor, there are rumors circulating about your daughter's paternity, Soan said carefully. Your husband has claimed she's not his biological child. Can you address this? Yes. On Christmas Eve, my husband told me he'd done a DNA test showing he's not Chioma's father. I don't know if that's true or another manipulation tactic. We're conducting our own test to verify. But what I do know is this. Chioma is my daughter. And whether her biological father is my husband, his business partner Obinna, or someone else, it doesn't change my love for her or my determination to protect her. 5 minutes left. My phone was vibrating continuously now with threats I couldn't check without looking away from the camera. You've become a symbol for domestic violence survivors across Nigeria, Soan continued. Women are sharing their own stories using your hashtag. But some critics say you should have handled this privately, through family mediation or religious counseling. What do you say to them? This was the moment. The question every Nigerian woman facing abuse heard from family, from church, from society. Why couldn't you just work it out quietly? I say those critics are part of the problem, I answered, feeling anger cut through my fear. This idea that women should suffer silently to preserve family reputation? That's how men like my husband operate for years without consequences. That's how my friend Nkem, my boutique manager, ends up dead today because she worked for a woman who dared to fight back. Soan sat forward. Nkem is dead. Murdered this morning. They tried to make it look like a robbery, but we all know what it really was. A message to me. Shut up or more people die. And I'm not shutting up. Because every time a woman stays silent about abuse, about theft, about powerful men breaking laws, we teach our daughters that this is acceptable. We teach them to accept less than they deserve. We teach them that their safety matters less than a man's reputation. 2 minutes. My phone screen showed a text from Ibrahim. Team is in position. 60 seconds. Some might say you're putting yourself and your family at risk by going public, Soan said. We're already at risk, I replied. My daughter and sister were kidnapped this afternoon by men working for Senator Adewale. They're being held right now as we speak, as leverage to make me recant everything I've said. They want me to tell you I lied about the abuse, the fraud, all of it. That this is just a bitter divorce over a cheating spouse. Soan's expression shifted to shock. Your daughter is being held hostage? Mrs. Okafor, why didn't you? Because going to the police quietly means they disappear and bodies are never found. But saying it here, on national television, with thousands watching? That makes it a lot harder for them to hurt my family without consequences. So I'm asking everyone watching, please share this interview. Make it impossible for Senator Adewale's men to operate in the dark. Shine a light so bright they have no choice but to let my daughter go. My phone showed another text, raid beginning now. I also want to say something directly to Senator Adewale, I continued, looking straight into the camera. I know you're watching. I know you think you're powerful enough to make people disappear, to buy off police, to control the narrative. But you made one critical mistake. You underestimated what a mother will do to protect her child. You gave me nothing left to lose. And a woman with nothing left to lose is the most dangerous thing in the world. Somewhere in Lagos, men with guns were surrounding a house. Somewhere my daughter was either about to be saved or about to die, and I wouldn't know which until my phone rang. I glanced down despite the cameras. Obinna. Mrs. Okafor, are you okay? Son asked, seeing my expression change. I need to take this call, I said, no longer caring about TV protocol or interview etiquette. It's about my daughter. I answered on speaker, broadcast standards be damned. Obinna. We have them, his voice came through, thick with relief. Chioma and Adiz are safe. EFCC raided the house 3 minutes ago. 5 men arrested, including Senator Adewale's head of security. They're shaken but unharmed. Ada, you did it. They're safe. I collapsed forward, tears flooding down my face, no longer able to hold up the strong facade. Chioma was safe. My sister was safe. The gamble had worked. Can you bring her to the phone? I asked, my voice breaking. A moment later. Mummy. Baby. Oh, my baby. Are you okay? I was scared, Mummy. They said bad things. But the police came and she was crying now, and I wished I could reach through the phone and hold her. I know, sweetheart. I know. But you're safe now. Auntie Adiz is taking care of you. I'll be home tomorrow. I promise. I love you so much. I love you too, Mummy. Are you on TV? They have you on the TV here at the police station. Despite everything, I laughed. Yes, baby. Mommy's on TV. Being very dramatic as usual. Son was wiping his own eyes. Nigeria, you're witnessing history. This is what happens when a woman refuses to be silenced. When she fights not just for herself, but for her daughter and for every woman watching. Mrs. Okafor, you are incredibly brave. I'm not brave, I said honestly. I'm just a mother who ran out of options and had to create new ones. And I'm lucky. I had people like Obinna and Barrister Ngozi and investigators who believed me. Most women don't have that support. That's what needs to change. My phone showed texts flooding in now. From my mother. I'm sorry, Ada. I should have believed you immediately. I'm proud of you. Your father is too. From women across Nigeria sharing their own stories of abuse, of financial manipulation, of finally finding the courage to leave. From Channels TV's competitors demanding interviews. From international media wanting the story. And one text from a blocked number. Senator Adewale has been taken into EFCC custody for questioning. His political career is over. You win, Mrs. Okafor. But watch your back. Men like him have long memories. What happens now? Son asked as we wrapped up the interview. Now I go home to my daughter. I finalize my divorce. I rebuild my business and my life. And I start a foundation to help other women escape domestic violence and financial abuse. Because this story isn't special. It's common. What's special is that I survived to tell it. Too many women don't. As the interview ended and the cameras cut away, I finally let myself feel the full weight of the past 48 hours. Nkem was dead. My marriage was destroyed. My family's reputation was permanently altered. I'd become a public figure overnight, my battered face on every screen in Nigeria. But Chioma was safe. Adiz was safe. Senator Adewale was facing justice. Emeka and Blessing's fraud was exposed. The revenge I'd wanted had morphed into something bigger, a reckoning, a public disgrace for men who thought they were untouchable. Ibrahim appeared in the green room doorway. EFCC wants you to come in tomorrow for a full debriefing. They're building cases against Senator Adewale, your husband, and Blessing Adeleke. With your testimony and the evidence we've provided, they're looking at serious prison time. All of them. And protection for my family? I asked. Already arranged. Security detail until the trials are over. The media attention helps too. They'd be insane to try anything else now. Obinna arrived moments later, pulling me into a hug that I desperately needed. You were magnificent. Terrifying and magnificent. I don't know how you held it together. I didn't have a choice, I said into his shoulder. When do I see Chioma? There's a flight to Lagos in 3 hours. I booked us both seats. She'll be waiting at Adi's place with extra security. Tomorrow we can figure out next steps, but tonight, just be with your daughter. This revenge story just became a revolution. Should Adanna forgive her family for doubting her, or is the damage permanent? And what about Obinna? Is he really the hero, or does he have his own agenda? Drop your predictions in the comments. 3 months later, Lagos felt different. Or maybe I was different. I stood on the balcony of my new apartment in Ikoyi. Smaller than the Lekki house I'd shared with Emeka, but mine. Fully mine. Paid for with money from selling one of the Abuja properties I'd reclaimed. No joint accounts. No husband's name on the deed. Just Adanna Okafor, business owner, survivor, and single mother. Below, Lagos traffic hummed its familiar chaos. Street vendors called out their wares. Danfo buses honked aggressively. Life moved forward whether you were ready or not. Mummy, can Daddy visit today? Chioma asked from the doorway, holding the tablet Obinna had given her last week. My stomach still clenched at the word, Daddy, though we'd been working through it in therapy, both of us seeing Dr. Amoka twice weekly. The DNA test had confirmed what Emeka claimed on Christmas Eve. Obinna was Chioma's biological father. 10 years of lies built on one drugged night in Abuja that I still couldn't fully remember. Not today, sweetheart. Remember what we talked about. Daddy is away for a while. But we can video call him if you want. Away meant Kirikiri Maximum Security Prison, where Chukwuemeka was awaiting trial on fraud, money laundering, and assault charges. His bail had been denied after EFCC presented evidence of flight risk. He'd attempted to board a flight to Dubai the day after my interview. Senator Adewale was in the same prison, though they were kept in different wings. The irony wasn't lost on anyone. Blessing was out on bail, living with her parents in Calabar, facing her own set of charges. She tried to reach me twice through lawyers, wanting to explain her side. I declined both times. Some betrayals were too deep for explanation. Can Obinna visit instead? Chioma asked hopefully. That was the complicated part. Obinna had been wonderful, patient, consistent, bringing age-appropriate gifts and spending supervised time with Chioma every weekend. He'd respected my boundaries, never pushed for more than I could give, and slowly, carefully, he was building a relationship with a daughter he'd never known he had. The co-parenting dynamic was nothing like I'd imagined my life would be, but it was working. Yes, Obinna is coming for lunch. He's bringing that jollof rice you love from the restaurant in 6. Chioma beamed and ran back to her room to change clothes. 9 years old and already she'd been through more trauma than most adults. But Dr. Amoka said she was resilient, processing everything in therapy, and would likely be okay with continued support. Children were stronger than we gave them credit for. My phone rang. My mother. We talked daily now, rebuilding trust that had fractured on that phone call 3 months ago. She and my father had visited twice, bringing home-cooked food and cautious apologies. We were raised to keep family matters private, my mother had explained. But private became dangerous. You taught us that privacy shouldn't protect abusers. We're sorry we didn't see it sooner. Mama, good morning, I answered. Ada, have you seen the news? They're announcing Senator Adewale's verdict today. Channels TV is covering it live. I turned on the television. There it was, the courtroom in Lagos, cameras focused on the judge as she read the verdict on financial crimes, money laundering, and conspiracy charges. The senator sat stone-faced in prison uniform, the man who'd once made people disappear now powerless behind bars. Finds the defendant guilty on all counts. Senator Adewale is hereby sentenced to 25 years imprisonment with no possibility of parole for the first 10 years. I felt nothing. Not triumph, not relief, not even satisfaction. Just a quiet acknowledgement that justice had happened. That the system, despite its flaws, had worked this time. And in related news, the anchor continued, Chukwuemeka Okafor received his sentence yesterday, 15 years for fraud and assault. His co-conspirator, Blessing Adeleke, received 10 years for her role in the money laundering scheme. 15 years. Emeka would be in his 60s when he got out. Chioma would be 24, possibly married with her own children. He'd miss her entire childhood, her teenage years, her graduation. Part of me felt that pang of loss, not for him, but for what Chioma wouldn't have. A father figure, even a complicated one. But then I remembered Christmas Eve. My broken teeth. Nkem's funeral. The terror in my daughter's eyes in that FaceTime call. And I felt nothing but certainty that this was the right outcome. How do you feel, Ada? My mother asked gently. Like I can finally breathe, Mama. Like I can finally move forward. The doorbell rang. Obinna stood there holding bags of food and wearing that careful smile he always wore around me. Hopeful but respectful, interested but patient. We'd been navigating our relationship slowly. He wasn't pushing for romance, understanding I needed time to heal from Emeka's abuse. But the attraction that had existed 10 years ago in Abuja was still there, complicated now by co-parenting and shared trauma. I brought lunch, he said. And something else. He handed me an envelope. Inside were legal documents transferring ownership of my boutique property from the joint account back to my name alone. The last financial tie to Emeka, finally severed. The divorce is final? I asked. Signed by the judge this morning. You're officially free, Adanna. Free. The word felt strange and wonderful. I was 34 years old and starting over. Single mother, business owner, public figure who'd accidentally become an activist for domestic violence survivors. My foundation, Nkem's Voice, had launched last month with funding from selling another Abuja property. We'd already helped 15 women escape abusive marriages, providing legal aid, safe housing, and financial support. Thank you, I said to Obinna. For everything. For the DNA test that started this mess. That ended the lies, he corrected gently. Messy but necessary. For the evidence that saved my life. For being patient with Chioma. For not expecting me to jump into something romantic just because we share a daughter. I can wait, he said simply. I waited 10 years not knowing she existed. I can wait however long you need to heal. And if you decide you'd rather just be co-parents and nothing more, I'll respect that too. Chioma burst onto the balcony, already changed into her favorite dress, traditional Ankara print with modern design, reflecting the blend of cultures she was growing up in. Obinna, did you bring the jollof rice? Of course. Extra plantain, just how you like it. We ate lunch together on my balcony, the three of us navigating this new family structure. It wasn't traditional. It wasn't what I'd imagined when I married Emeka 10 years ago, dreaming of the perfect Nigerian family. But it was real, honest, and built on truth instead of lies. My phone buzzed with a notification. An email from Channels TV, documentary request. From victim to victor, the Adanna Okafor story. They wanted to do a full documentary. Interviews with me, Barrister Ngozi, EFCC investigators, survivors I'd helped through my foundation. A comprehensive look at domestic violence and financial abuse in Nigerian marriages. What do you think? I showed Obinna the email. Too much. Too soon. I think, he said carefully, that you've already changed the conversation in Nigeria. Women are talking about abuse now. Reporting it. Leaving bad marriages. You did that by refusing to stay silent. A documentary continues that work. He was right. The hashtag Justice for Adanna hashtag had evolved into a movement. Women across Nigeria, and the diaspora in the US, UK, and across Africa, were sharing their stories, leaving abusers, reclaiming their finances. I received messages daily from women who said my story gave them courage. But there was a cost. My face was too recognizable now. I couldn't go to the market without being stopped. Some people called me a hero. Others called me a homewrecker, a woman who destroyed her marriage over pride. The judgment never stopped, just shifted forms. I'll do it, I decided. But only if they include resources for women watching. Hotlines, legal aid numbers, shelter information. This can't just be entertainment. It has to help. Chioma finished her food and curled up next to me on the outdoor sofa, her head on my shoulder. This simple moment, safety, full bellies, no fear, this was everything I'd fought for. Not revenge, not even justice really, just peace. Mummy, Chioma said sleepily, at school, they're reading that story you wrote. About the woman who was brave. I'd written a children's book, published last month by a small Lagos press. The Woman Who Roared told the story of a lioness who found her voice after years of silence. Simple, metaphorical, age-appropriate. It was selling surprisingly well. What did your classmates think? I asked. They said their mommies are brave too. And one girl, Amara, she said her daddy used to hurt her mommy, but they left and now they're happy. Like us. Tears stung my eyes. Like us, I repeated. Obinna caught my gaze over Chioma's head. In his eyes I saw understanding, respect, and yes, love. Not the desperate, controlling love Emeka had twisted into possession, but patient love that respected boundaries and wanted my happiness even if it didn't include him romantically. Maybe someday I'd be ready for that. Maybe not. Either way, I was okay. My phone buzzed again. This time from an international number. I answered cautiously. Mrs. Okafor? This is CNN International. We'd like to feature your story on our Women of Impact series. Your work has inspired survivors globally, not just in Nigeria. Would you be interested in discussing this further? Global impact. From one Christmas Eve beating to international recognition. The journey felt surreal. Send me the details, I said. I'll consider it. After I hung up, Obinna asked, do you ever regret it? Going public the way you did. The attention, the scrutiny, everything that came after. I thought about Nkem, whose death still haunted me. About my family's initial disappointment. About the threats that still came occasionally from Senator Adewale's supporters. About the permanent gap in my smile where teeth used to be. I'd gotten implants, but you could still see the difference up close. No, I said finally. Because silence would have killed me. Maybe not immediately, but eventually. And more importantly, it would have taught Chioma that women should accept abuse. That we should prioritize men's comfort over our own safety. That we should steal our own voices to keep peace. You gave her a different lesson, Obinna said. I gave her the truth. That fighting back is hard. That it costs something. That people will judge you no matter what you choose. But that your life, your dignity, your safety, those are worth fighting for. Even when it's messy. Even when you lose things along the way. Even when revenge turns into something bigger and scarier than you planned. Chioma had fallen asleep against me, exhausted from the excitement of Obinna's visit and too much jollof rice. I stroked her hair gently, this child who'd been at the center of so much pain and confusion but who was learning, slowly, what healthy love looked like. The sun was setting over Lagos, painting the sky in oranges and purples. From my balcony I could see the city I loved. Chaotic, beautiful, complicated Lagos where anything could happen and usually did. Where women were beaten every day but also where women were fighting back more than ever before. My phone showed one last notification. A text from Adiz. Family dinner this Sunday? Mama wants to cook for everyone. Including Obinna if you're comfortable with that. We're proud of you, Ada. We're all so proud. I looked at my sleeping daughter. At Obinna carefully cleaning up lunch dishes. At my reflection in the glass door. Scarred but strong, tired but alive, broken in some ways but healing in others. This wasn't the ending I'd imagined when I married Emeka. It wasn't the revenge story I'd planned when I first met with Adanna at that cafe. It was messier, more complicated, filled with loss and grief alongside victory. But it was mine. My story, my choices, my consequences. And for the first time in 10 years, I wasn't afraid of what came next. Yes, I texted Adiz back. Family dinner sounds perfect. Tell Mama I'll bring dessert. Outside, Lagos continued its endless hustle. Inside, I held my daughter close and let myself believe that maybe, just maybe, the hard part was finally over. The revenge was complete. The betrayal was exposed. The cheating spouse was imprisoned. The domestic violence had ended. And I, Adanna Okafor, survivor, mother, warrior, I was free. We've reached the end of Adanna's incredible journey from victim to victor. What did you think of her story? Did she make the right choices? Would you have done anything differently? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If this story moved you, please like this video, subscribe to our channel for more powerful African stories, and share this with someone who needs to hear it. Hit that notification bell so you never miss our next upload. For everyone who followed Adanna's journey from Christmas Eve to freedom, where are you watching from? Lagos, Nairobi, Atlanta, London. Let us know in the comments. And remember, if you or someone you know is experiencing domestic violence, you are not alone. There are resources available. You are worthy of safety, respect, and love. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next story. Stay strong.